We're going over Reddit again. And the section we picked is when driving at night, what is the scariest, most unexplainable thing you've ever seen? It was good last time, so we decided to come back to it.
Yeah. Hey everyone, John Lower here again with the J&L Chronicles.
Okay.
So what kind of a crazy nighttime driving story do you have for us today?
I haven't read it. It's just the second top under the
Oh,
top story.
all right.
So it should be good,
All right.
I figured.
Well, let's hear it. I'm all ears.
Okay. This is from Reddit user co underscore 74. This person says, about 20 years ago, I was driving home from a late wedding DJ gig. I was driving south on a major interstate, which was relatively empty at 2:30 a.m. or so. At one point, in the Narrows, the retaining walls on each side get very high as the highway snakes underneath overpasses. Out of nowhere, a young woman jumped down from the retaining wall onto the highway and directly in front of my car. I hit the brakes hard, came to a complete stop, and nearly slammed into her. She looked up, ran to my passenger door, and got in looking terrified. She looked between 16 and 20 years old, long blonde hair, and her clothes looked a little dirty. Not homeless dirty, but like she'd fallen down a few times. I just need to call my mom, she said.
Well, yeah, that seems like a need to call your mom situation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank goodness this
Good
person
thing she
found her.
got in someone's car who wasn't a creep,
Yes,
because that could have ended badly.
yes, indeed. I tried to calm her down and began moving back down the highway. And behind me, about 50 feet, I see another figure jump down onto the highway out of my rearview mirror. I didn't mention this to her, and she didn't look back or see this other person. I sped up and went about 4 or 5 exits south. She kept saying over and over, I just need to call my mom. This was before most people had cell phones, so I told her I would take her to one of the 24-hour grocery stores and she could call her mom. I asked her if she needed money for a payphone, what was wrong, etc. And she said nothing other than, I just needed to call my mom. He then goes on and says, I pulled up to the grocery store and stopped. She got out quickly, but not running, then ducked into the grocery store. She didn't say a word to me or look back. I pulled into the gas station across the street and called 911 and told them the entire story and let them know the young woman was inside the grocery store and a description of her. I have no idea what happened. I don't know why she did that, what happened to her, who the figure behind us was on the highway. Nothing. Really made me super uneasy. I think I did the right thing. I would have tried to do more, but she seemed really fragile emotionally and somewhat afraid of me. I'm
Mm.
a guy. So I wanted her to be just able to get where she needed to be.
Yeah, that sounds like she was in a bad situation with a guy.
Yeah.
Maybe a boyfriend, maybe her stepdad even. And
You never know.
yeah, that would definitely freak me out.
Yeah. There's a comment, and this person's account was deleted as well. But there's a comment that says, hey man, you definitely did the right thing. I hate to think what might happen to her if you hadn't helped.
Yeah. Uh,
That was worded kind of strangely, but
she could have been one of those stories you hear about on the news.
yeah, that's crazy. One time I got uh, trapped, or well, I wasn't lost. I caught a bus to go home from LA, downtown LA, and the bus was late, so it missed the other bus, and there wasn't any other buses, so it was in the middle of downtown
Mm.
LA, and I had no one to my the no one to call. I didn't remember anybody's phone numbers but my best friend, and so I walked, and then people started coming from the trash cans toward me. So I ran out into the middle of the street. I was like 12. I
Oh
don't
wow.
know. It was I was no, I was not 12. I was probably 15.
15-year-old girl out in the middle of downtown LA in the middle of the night? That's not a good situation.
Yeah, so I ran into the middle of the street because I was scared of them. So and then I see down the road a little. There's this guy on a payphone, and he has a car right there. So I run down there because these people are coming from the trash cans, and I can't. It was just dark figures, and I didn't. I was terrified. So I run down there, and this guy is making a phone call. Um, Apparently, he couldn't afford to make phone calls home to wherever he was from, and so people would use. Back in the day, they had a calling card. Was that what it
Oh
was
yeah,
called?
I remember calling cards.
Yeah. And so he was using that to let them know he was okay and everything was fine real quick.
Now,
And
to all the children out there or young adults, a payphone is a phone that would be, next to a store or just randomly placed on the streets where you put a nickel or a dime in
it was a
and you would.
quarter when I was younger.
Oh, okay. Well, that was probably because it was LA.
Oh.
Everything's more expensive than LA. But you put the money in and then you dial a phone number. You don't have a contact list.
Yes,
You
I
have
only
to.
had my best friend's number and I called him crying and he couldn't do anything because he didn't know. And my mom was at her friend's house for the night because I was at this function and I always took the bus home from it, and everything was usually fine. And so I I walk away, and this guy stops me, and he tells me, "I can't leave you here. Get in the car." And I was like, "No, thank you." And he's started talking to me again, trying to calm me down because I was frantic. I was
I
frantic.
bet.
And he just calmed me down and told me to get in the car again. And so I lied to him and I said, "Well, I guess that's okay because I have a knife in my bag." I know, stupid, but I was scared and not thinking right. And so I got in his car and he asked me a question. And I answered him. And then I said, "Oh, my dad's a police officer. Uh, thank you for taking me home. He'll sure appreciate it." And I don't think he believed any of it. The knife, the police. I made up a bunch of stories to make him think, "Oh, this girl's crazy. I'm gonna leave her alone. Just drop her off." And he drove me all the way from downtown LA to where I lived, which was,
Probably a good 20 miles.
yeah, it was a long drive. And he dropped me off and told me to be safe and watched me get in the house. And
Huh.
I was so thankful for him. He was such a nice guy in the car. He was just trying to calm me down, and he was telling me about his life and why he had to why he was there in the middle of downtown LA with this other person with this using somebody else's calling card. That was obviously wrong, but he was there at the right time, and I'm grateful that he was because I was terrified out of my mind.
Sounds like both you and this girl seemed to luck out with finding people who were decent human beings
Indeed.
and not total creeps who you might find yourself on, you never know, someone's dinner menu or worse.
Yeah. Grateful for the kind people out there. If that man ever sees this, I don't know how old he is, but thank you.
And talking about kind people give our videos thumbs up and subscribe.
Or dislike it if you dislike it.
No, bad people dislike it. Only bad people dislike our videos.
No. Thank you to all our subscribers. We really appreciate your support. It means the world to us.
Yeah. And have a great day. And don't be out too late because you could end up jumping off an overpass and running from someone.
Indeed. I never did that again. Holy cow.